Welcome back. An invasive worm species is making its way into major cities across the state like Detroit, Grand Rapids, even Lansing.
According to the Midwest Invasive Species Information Network, these worms are damaging to the state's ecosystems. News 10's Jaden Hawkins joins us live in the newsroom with more.
David and Ann, most people would think a worm is harmless, but conservation experts tell me the new species of jumping worms could have a negative impact on Michigan's ecosystem. I spoke with researchers and landscapers to see how these small creatures make a big impact. When you think of worms, you probably don't think of jumping.
Once you've seen them, you can't unsee it.
According to Master Gardener Ulrich Chung, the worms wiggle rapidly as a defense mechanism and can sometimes jump up to a foot in the air. But even though they make funny movements, Drew Monks with the Michigan Wildlife Conservancy says there's nothing funny about them being in Michigan's ecosystems.
They can actually disturb the roots of these plants, and they are leaving behind waste in an area that's outside of the root zone of the plants. So all of those nutrients, instead of being available to the plant's roots, like our friendly earthworms, all those nutrients just run off straight into the water.
The worms typically live on top of soil in environments surrounded by leaf litter, which they consume and leaves a dry surface soil that looks similar to gravel.
They eat a ton of food, very rapidly they will destroy any leaf litter and things on the surface, which gets rid of habitat for insects and animals.
And the impact is not limited to the state's forests. Tom Morgan is the owner of Bud, Branch, and Blossom Landscaping in DeWitt. He says they can be bad news for your own home garden, too.
People spend a lot of work on, making that soil structure something that plants are happy in. And when you have this jumping worm in your garden, it can really negatively impact the soil texture, really affect the plants not performing as well as they should.
Chung says these worms can reproduce even without a mate, so it's important to wipe them out and prevent spreading contaminated soil. If you find jumping worms in your yard, Monk says you can lure them out with a mixture of ground powdered mustard and water so you can exterminate them. In the newsroom, Jaden Hawkins, News 10.
All right, Jaden, thank you. And if you find any of these jumping worms, you can report it to the Midwest Invasive Species Network.
This is your